as you head north?
I think I'm very excited that for the first time in the last couple of years, I think everyone who has been followed this saga will know that I've made numerous attempts to try and get in a position where we could get the right structure in the board, get the right people in the board to take the club forward. I think from the fans' point of view, there were some really, really tough years. I think there was a lack of direction. And one of the things I've tried to fight against was the noise level. You know, if I look at a lot of the stuff that's happened over the years, if I look at even last night with WH Ireland, probably about 95% of the stresses and strains that the fans have gone through and stuff they've read in the media and the newspapers is what I call noise level. It's always been irrelevant. The main thing and the main game plan that I've stayed focused on was to try and get regime change and try and install on the Rangers board some like-minded individuals who know what the club is about, who know what the history is about, and they can give the fans hope that we will take the club forward into something that they will recognise more as the real Rangers as opposed to what we've seen over the last couple of years. And I feel we're at that point now. It's been a long road, and I'm asking the fans to remain calm, to remain steady, because after tomorrow we will actually finally have a direction. It will be a long road, but as long as we travel that road together, and I guarantee the fans absolute transparency and accountability. And if there's one thing that's been missing in Rangers over the last couple of years, I believe it's not just the ethos and the level of respect, but I think transparency and accountability has been completely absent.
Those are two words that you use all the time, and you feel that those are words that Rangers supporters really need to hear.
I think they need to hear it, and I think that they should be demanding it. And I think if you look at all of the stakeholders, I think the Rangers fans have sat on the side and they've watched other people playing games with their club. And I say games in the true sense, it has been games. We've seen a number of people in responsible positions with fiduciary responsibilities who've really played to their own agenda. And the fans have really sat on the sidelines. And quite frankly, it is my belief if it wasn't for the fans voting with their feet and starting to boycott games, I don't think we'd be at the point that we are today. So I think the fans deserve a huge amount of credit for their contribution to what I'm hoping is a very new, exciting way forward for the club.
Have you already won the day? I mean, the regime change definitely happens tomorrow at 11 o'clock. You're confident of that?
When I called the requisition, I actually did it on the basis that my sense of the situation was I would acquire more than 50%. I think we're way above that at the current level, and I think that's partly because a lot of the institutional shareholders have seen the wisdom of trying to get the club going forward, I think, in the way that we're suggesting. And also there's been absolutely immense rallying of the fans. I mean, it's been an absolute humbling, I mean, I say genuinely humbling experience for me to see how the fans have dug into their own pockets and they've started acquiring shares in the marketplace. And for me to get the vote of 90% of, I think, about 12,000 fans really is, it's a great thrill for me to know that I won't be walking this road alone.
So Derek Lymbias and Barry Leitch will be removed tomorrow?
Well, Derek Lymbias and Barry, they'll certainly be removed as directors tomorrow. They will still have the executive responsibilities, which we've got to separate from that. And I think that's a discussion that we'll have another time.
Are you ready for this challenge?
I'm ready. I think that it's something I've been working on for a couple of years. And it is a little bit daunting to now think of what we have to do, because the one thing that is clear to me, if I look at the club from now, say versus last year when I tried to get in the club, I think the club is broken. It's not just the team, it's not just I think the stadium, the infrastructure, the whole value system within the club has disappeared. And that's why I think it really is absolutely critical that we hit the ground running. So after tomorrow, we've really got to go and kickstart the thing and inject a bit of energy.
A Rangers insider, Dave, said last night that the club's in a precarious position. You don't see that?
I think in a precarious position in terms of probably trying to get promotion this year. But if the suggestion is financially precarious, I think there's nothing further from the truth. I think if you look even at the levels of debt they're talking about from Mike Ashley, they're actually very modest. You know, for a club with the facilities Rangers got, if we get the fan support back and just get Rangers back to where we know Rangers can be, then I think the level of debt the club's got at the moment is very, very, very affordable.
Do you envisage conversations with Ashley?
I certainly envisage him with Sports Direct. You know, I think Ashley's position as a shareholder, I've tried to speak to him before. He's refused. There's no reason why he shouldn't engage with me if he doesn't want to. But certainly I think Sports Direct, I think there's a lot of discussions I expect to happen once we look at the Sports Direct contracts, understand what's going on behind them, and I'd be very, very surprised if there wasn't some level of negotiation.
You want calmness and dignity tomorrow, don't you?
Absolutely, and I think the Rangers fans have had a difficult time. I think emotions have run high, but really at this point I'm really calling for calmness. I think let's just get this meeting behind us and let's go ahead and start doing what we think is right and start creating a Rangers that we all start to recognise as the club that we have always supported for all these years.
The bad old days, have they gone for good?
I think we're going to have a couple of tough years. I mean, I think that it would be naive, and it's not even just a question of money. I think that for Rangers to become, I think fairly quickly, the second top club in Scotland, I think should be achieved at fairly short notice. I think there is a very, very substantial gap between Rangers and Celtic at the moment, and I think for us to narrow that gap, as we surely will do, has to be done in a judicious basis. We mustn't ever get to the situation where we put Rangers into financial distress, chasing something that can be managed in a far more commercial and insane basis, if I can use that term.